Hi folks, so it's been another week or so of epic harvests and just trying to stay on top of storing and using and preserving our beautiful crops. Our freezer is nearly full, I'm filling up jars as fast as I can. Our bellies are full with the best food that money can't even buy when you grow it yourself. The flavours, the nutrients are out of this world. I have not done any gardening, it feels like, in weeks because I'm just focusing on the harvests, other than a bit of mowing and a tiny little bit of pruning essential work in the polytunnels. But the growing spaces are looking beautiful but a little bit wild, and I'm hopefully going to show you some of that maybe in next week's video. But yeah, and we haven't even started on the sweet potatoes, the yacon, the Jerusalem artichokes, the taro. It's all still yet to come. But here's what I've been doing this week. We have grown a lot of chili peppers this year, more than we know what to do with really. I grew a variety called Cyclone, which I was hoping to use for smoked paprika, as that's what it was recommended for. But it's actually a really hot pepper. By chance, I happened to grow another one called Portugal, which is a mild pepper. And so this is the one I'm going to hopefully try and turn into some smoked paprika for us. I still smoked the Cyclone chilies as a bit of a test run, as this is the first time I've ever done this. And I think it's quite lucky that I did, because there is definitely a little bit of technique to smoking things correctly. We lost a few to overcooking, but we have got a big jar of smoked hot chili flakes. I've also harvested and dried another big batch of holy basil this week. I used the dehydrator on a relatively low heat so that I keep all of the goodness and benefits in this amazing plant, and then I store it in jars to use as tea throughout the whole of the year. Our tomatoes have finally started getting productive, and on one day this week I harvested 5 kg of tomatoes, and then I processed them all in 3 different ways. I halved and dried a lot of the cherry tomatoes in the dehydrator, and then I store those in jars in the cupboard, and they last for well over a year if they don't get eaten first. Next, I made up a batch of my favourite chutney, which uses lots of tomatoes, courgettes and onions. A big pot like this does take a long time to simmer down and reduce, but it is well worth it, and I try to make at least a couple of batches of this up if time allows, as it is something that we love to give away as Christmas presents. And finally, I made up another batch of the amazing roasted tomato paste that I love to use and keep in the freezer all year round. So today I'm hoping to make up my apple cider vinegar, and We haven't had very many apples on our trees in the food forest this year. So I've got most of the apples for the cider vinegar from a big cooking apple tree in my parents' house. But I am hoping to find a few apples from our food forest as well that I can just add to the brew as well. And the other thing I'm going to harvest is some Artemisia annua, and I'll show you that one in a minute. Any more? I think that is it for this little tree this year. But both this tree and our other Cox apple tree were absolutely covered last year. But yeah, they're having a rest this year, I think. So hopefully lots of apples again next year. I think just a couple on this tree that I can see. Yeah, this was our most productive tree last year, this one. So hopefully it will come good again next year. That's another one there hiding. So I'm not actually too sure how well you can see the fine feathery leaves of this plant amongst all the other greenery. But this is Artemisia annua, which I have dotted through the food forest in a few different places. And this one here is grown right up through this apricot tree. It must be at least 2 meters tall, and it's just starting to flower. And here's another one. This is probably the strongest of the Artemisia plants that we've got in the food forest. And you can see this one is actually about the same height as me, and is actually the same height as this small plum tree that we planted just this winter. So Artemisia annua is also known as Sweet Annie, or the herb of hope. And this is actually a new one on me. The seeds were sent to us by one of our kind viewers who picked up on the fact that I was really into medicinal herbs. But it is said to be a good anti-inflammatory herb. It's also detoxifying. It may help with things like flu, the immune system, and cancers, and it may even help with things like Lyme's disease and malaria. So yeah, have a look into that if you are into your medicinal herbs. But I'm going to take some of the leaves now and lightly pack them into this jar so I can make a tincture today. It's got a really, really potent, interesting smell to it actually. It smells very strong. Maybe slightly like tansy, but much, much nicer than tansy. And the leaves, I can really feel, I don't know if it's the oils, but yeah, I can really feel something on my fingers as I'm picking the leaves as well. So yeah, it certainly feels like it might have lots of good stuff in it. And if I can get round to getting a good harvest off here again when my dehydrator is free, I'd like to dry some of the leaves to keep for a tea as well. Okay, so I've got my apples and it's time to make this year's batch of apple cider vinegar. And I've set myself up outside because it is such a beautiful day. I do not want to be inside chopping apples, so I've just got it all out here. I think I've got everything I need for this first stage of the brewing. And I brew quite a lot of apple cider vinegar because we love it. It's something I use a lot. And I've got a mixture of apples from about 3 or 4 trees here. I think that helps to add different flavours and different elements from a variety of trees. And one of the reasons why apple cider vinegar is so good for you is because it is a ferment. And we know that ferments are particularly good for things like gut health, general immune system boosting. You can use apple cider vinegar in so many ways. You can use it as skin and hair tonics. And one of the things that I use a lot of our apple cider vinegar for is to brew it on into fire cider, which is an amazing health tonic which I keep in stock all the time. And I have got a video on our channel that I made a few years ago about how to make fire cider. It's a bit of an old one, but all the important information is in there. So check that one out if you would like to learn more about fire cider too. But apple cider vinegar is particularly good for gut health, for digestion. A lot of people say taking just a tablespoon in some water before a meal can really help, particularly if you do have any digestive sort of issues or sensitivities. But yeah, just an amazing wellness tonic. And salad dressings, that's another main thing that we use it for. I just keep it in stock all the time. Antifungal, if you get any fungal infections, you can use it as a rinse. And yeah, get making some apple cider vinegar because it is absolutely awesome to keep in stock for so many things, and well worth looking into more of the health benefits and uses of apple cider vinegar. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing what we have been up to over the last week or so at Freedom Forest. If you have enjoyed this video, please make sure that you click the thumbs up just below the video. This really helps us. Also, if you could share our videos on any of your social medias, this is a massive help to us and helps to spread the love of gardening and growing food for yourself. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel, and we will catch you here again soon. Thanks for watching. Peace and plants.